What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. It is week 3, man. We're doing the post-game notes here, the review with all the box score stuff that you guys need to be checking out. This is something that I publish on the fantasyfellowship.com. So if you guys want to become a member there and get access to this stuff, that's where it is, the fantasyfellowship.com. In this video, I'm just going to go over it and kind of just recap what we learned, what's new, what's developing, and what we could maybe be looking forward in the future. Kicking it off with Miami and the Buffalo Bills here. We didn't really learn a whole lot from the Miami game. Miami played hard. Devon Achane racked up a ton of targets and receptions. And the new wrinkle here was Ollie Gordon getting 9 rushing attempts, getting a goal line touchdown. Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill both looked pretty good. Both caught 5 passes, both caught a touchdown. Malik Washington was the clear number 3 wide receiver with 5 targets, 3 catches. He also got a rushing attempt. So he looks like a guy to just file in the back of your mind if you want to stash him over a weekend. If anything happens to, Waddle or Hill, we got something with Malik Washington here. And then the tight end, they've been rotating Julian Hill and Tanner Conner. Conner's been the receiving tight end with all the routes. And now they're saying Darren Waller is going to be more active for us this week 4. So Darren Waller, someone to keep an eye on. He's not a startable asset in fantasy yet, but maybe we'll see if he makes this offense a little bit better. But I think the main thing is Miami played hard. They showed some fight on the road in Buffalo, and they actually, if it wasn't for that roughing the punter penalty, they looked pretty good. I thought they might have been able to pull that off there. But the main takeaway, Dolphins look fine. Gordon, one of the guys to probably pick up if you guys have the opportunity to do so. And Buffalo, didn't really learn anything from Buffalo. Josh Allen, still good at football. James Cook is still awesome at football and scoring touchdowns. Keon Coleman and Khalil Shakir were the top 2 receivers in this one, running, almost 75% of the routes, or 75% of the snaps, and running about 80% of the routes. So Coleman, 4 targets, Shakir, 4 targets. He did catch the touchdown. These 2 guys, that's what it's going to be. These guys are going to have low floors of 5 to 8 points. It's going to matter if they catch the touchdown for that day. Josh Palmer is losing steam as the wide receiver 3. We're seeing more Elijah Moore. He got a rushing attempt and 3 targets. He looks okay. But the big winner here for Buffalo is Dalton Kincaid, who continues to only play about half the snaps. He's running about 2/3 of the routes, and then you have 6 targets, 5 catches. He catches a touchdown. He looks like a serviceable tight end 1 to start the season. So Bills look pretty good. Ty Johnson, Ray Davis still getting backup work here. You're starting Allen and Cook, and I think Kincaid, and then you got to think about some of these receivers for now. But overall, we didn't really learn anything too much about Buffalo. They're going to have a good game here week 4 against the New Orleans Saints that we just saw get destroyed by the Seattle Seahawks. Let's move on to the Atlanta Falcons. So now we're into the Sunday slate here. This was a huge surprise. I mean, I thought Atlanta might, they were 5.5-point favorites. They don't even score a point. They get smoked in this one here. Michael Penix gets pulled. He did not look good. Bijan Robinson still gets you 16.1 fantasy points without a touchdown. So you're happy. Like, don't be begging for points with Bijan. You guys still have a guy that's going to be good for fantasy. The receiver rotation was interesting. Darnell Mooney, Drake London, those are the top 2 guys for sure. Ray McLeod still kind of running as the number 3. 10 targets for Mooney, 7 for London. These guys kind of have had the same value the last 2 weeks here. So if Mooney's out there, I like Mooney on the waiver wire this week if you can get him. We're just not seeing – maybe there's something with the injury for London where he's not quite 100% yet. But I look forward to him getting back on track in week number 4. Let me close a window real quick here. That's better. All right, we got to block out the neighbors mowing their lawn during the podcast. What the heck? The nerve. But anyways, London and Mooney look like they're kind of splitting time as the wide receiver 1 here. Both saw 7 and 10 targets. London, still, these are floor games. I guess the good news is we've seen it as good as it can get with the Falcons. I guess last week wasn't as good as it can get. It was good for Bijan in the running game. This was as bad as it gets, and I guess everybody still had a serviceable fantasy line. Kyle Pitts down here running all the routes, a lot of snaps, 8 fantasy points. I think you're happy and you take that. The Falcons are going to bounce back. I think it is a very concerning performance by Michael Penix. We're not really trusting him in Superflex leagues until we see it again from him. But you're still trusting Bijan. It was interesting that this Nathan Carter got run at the end here, 7 rushing attempts in mop-up time, so he's a name to file away here. But we just really didn't learn a lot from Atlanta. Didn't really learn too much here. But I like Pitts, I like Mooney, London, and Bijan for sure. The Panthers, on the other hand, this was a weird one. Like, they didn't really have to do anything. Nobody got more than 12 fantasy points in this game. Bryce Young gets a rushing touchdown. Chuba Hubbard, just a 9.6 PPR day. He's still getting targeted and leading the team in carries, which is good to see. It was a huge Rico Dowdle day. He gets 10 rushing attempts and a rushing touchdown. And the receivers all kind of just split it thinly, but Tet McMillan stepped up as the clear 8-target guy. There's 24 targets in this game. McMillan gets 8 of them. They just didn't have to throw the ball. I think bigger days are ahead for McMillan. Renfro took a step back. They just played a lot of running back stuff and a lot of tight end stuff here. There was an injury to Jatavian Sanders, high ankle sprain. He's going to be out for a few games here. I don't think we're going to care about the Carolina Panthers tight end. Just it keeps going back to McMillan, man. He's going to continue to get 8 to 10 targets per game. And then you got Jalen Coker coming back soon. And Xavier Legette's out as well. So I didn't really learn too much about the Panthers, just that, hey, nice home win. And we'll continue to use Chuba, McMillan, and we'll think about some of the other pieces there. The Green Bay Packers, this was such a letdown. Jordan Love, 11.12 points. He's a super flex QB2. I don't know if I feel great about him as a QB1 rest of season, but they get the Cowboys this weekend, so he's probably going to be a top 10, top 12 QB for me. Jacobs continues to get fantasy points. No touchdown in this one, but he did have 9 targets, 5 catches. That Browns defense is good. They really stifled the Packers running game and made Jordan Love kind of have to get the ball out quickly. So that's why you see the spike in targets there. This one was interesting because Emmanuel Wilson was RB2 this week, not Chris Brooks. So they've been kind of flip-flopping them. It seems like no true clear RB2 for Green Bay. Romeo Doubs runs the majority of the routes here, 59 out of 66. Matthew Golden is second. Dontavian Wicks third. It's a little bit more of a win for Golden in the routes, though. He runs 5 more routes than Dontavian Wicks. He gets 4 targets, 4 catches on the day, and 3 rushing attempts. So he got 7 opportunities to touch the ball in this one. And it was the first play of the game that they threw to Golden. So I like that. I think he's a guy that now is going to enter that wide receiver 3 flex conversation. Romeo Doubs is kind of already in that conversation. And I think going into Dallas on Sunday Night Football week 4, we're going to be interested in these guys here. And then Dontavian Wicks is a hold. If you picked him up this week, hold. Otherwise, he's worth a stash because he is the clear number 3 with Jaden Reed out of the picture. And then Tucker Kraft, nice to see him play a full game, with the knee injury scare. Only 3 catches on 4 targets. That's kind of what these floor games are for tight ends, so it's fine. Didn't really learn anything about the Packers offense. I think I learned that the Browns front defense is very, very good. We really didn't learn anything about the Browns offense at all besides Quinshon Judkins. I still don't like the issue and the sagas that we had over the summer with the character concerns, but he's a good football player. He gets 18 rushing attempts, a rushing touchdown. He catches his 1 target. He's a starting RB2 in fantasy football and room to grow because they're just not giving anybody else any carries anymore. Dylan Sampson's just got completely phased out of this one. Only 5 snaps, 3 routes, and a carry. Jerome Ford looks like the third down back here with 15 routes and 4 targets. The receivers didn't play well. Judy Tillman, these guys all, it was all spread out pretty thinly. David Njoku led the way with 6 targets and 5 catches. Fannin had a little bit of fantasy work as well. Just nobody was startable outside of Judkins. So going into next week, who did the Browns play? They're at Detroit. That might lead them to have to throw the ball more. I don't know if we're going to see any more of these 13-10 games for the Browns. That defense is really good. Maybe the Lions force them to open it up a little bit, but we're going to have to reevaluate this Browns receiver group for fantasy. I think you can still start Njoku. He still snaps and routes ahead of Fannin as well as targets. So you still got something there, but we got to think about these receivers. You're starting Judkins, and then I just don't want to deal with Flacco even in a super flex league. And if you guys are wondering why I have the comments turned off for the live stream, it helps me. My video today is I want to go over the post-game notes. I don't want to be distracted with comments and questions. So if you guys do have comments and questions tomorrow night, Tuesday evening, we'll do the live waiver wire show. That's when I will be opening it up to comments and questions and things like that. But for this Monday night video series, we're just going to keep it without comments. It's just for paying attention and soaking up the charts that we've created. So Houston Texans, Jacksonville Jags. This one was another stinker of a game. CJ Stroud looked bad. He did get the bomb to Nico Collins to save the day. He had 2 interceptions in this one. He's just a low-end quarterback too for Superflex leagues. Nick Chubb got the volume, 9 carries, 3 targets, 3 catches. Still doesn't look all that good. The Jags might have a decent defense, but this Houston offensive line is a problem. I do think Woody Marks is someone that needs to be picked up because I think he's going to get more work as the year goes on. I don't think Nick Chubb's going to continue getting all this volume and snaps and routes. And this was almost a 50-50 split. If you look at these numbers here, this is basically a 50-50 split with Chubb just getting a few more carries and 1 more target. So Woody Marks is the guy on waiver wire this week. Nico Collins, we finally got a big game out of Nico. He did have a fumble at the end of the game, which was disappointing, but finally a nice big slob day for Nico. Christian Kirk, first game back, comes right in and runs 33 out of 43 routes. He gets 8 targets. So this is a really good spot to have Christian Kirk. He's going to be the clear number 2 target in this offense going forward. His first game back, maybe a little bit of rust here. He only caught 3 of his 8 targets, but I think he's a guy that could be flexed, especially against Tennessee this week 4. I think Kirk's going to be in the wide receiver 3 flex discussion. Hutchinson, Higgins, it's just not happening for these guys yet. Hutchinson looks okay. I wish we could see more Jaden Higgins, though. That is unfortunate. And then Jalen Noel starting to play a little bit. And then with the injury to, what's his name? The number 2 tight end. Cade Stover got hurt, I think, in week 1. So Dalton Schultz is just the clear guy, running 37 out of 43 routes, 6 targets. If you need a dirty tight end 1 that can get some volume, Schultz would be the guy. But the Texans have a lot of issues. I think a lot of it has to do with the offensive line. And then right now the offensive coordinator struggling a little bit. But continue starting Nico. He's really the only must-start asset on this team. Another struggle day for the Jags offense. We finally got a big Brian Thomas Jr. play. It came as one of the final plays of the day. He had 2 drops, and he had 1 big play called back, an 18-yard catch called back from a penalty. So you can be frustrated at Brian Thomas Jr. Yeah, he's got to catch 2 balls. He had probably like a 25-yard catch that he had for a minute, and then he lost it. He also just had 1 bounce right off his hands. It was kind of an out route. And then he did have the 18-yard penalty called back. So it could have been a nice, 15, 16 PPR day. So stay with it. Brian Thomas, big days are coming. Parker Washington stepped into the number 2 wide receiver role. Diami Brown got hurt and left early in this one. And they just clearly don't want Hunter as the number 2. Like, Hunter is just the number 3 receiver in 3 wide receiver sets right now, it seems like. So Parker Washington is the name to maybe pick up off the waiver wire. He's a good-looking player. He led the team in targets, 4 catches on the day. I like Washington quite a bit. The running back room, we saw a heavy ETN day, 15 routes, 38 snaps, 15 rushing attempts to lead the way, gets the game-sealing touchdown at the end, which they kind of just let him in to get the ball back. And then Tootin, low snaps here, only 12 snaps, but he gets 6 routes, 6 rushing attempts, gets a goal line plunge, 1 target here. I still think Tootin is worth holding on to, so don't cut him. Pick him up if someone cuts him. It's still ETN's backfield for now. Trevor Lawrence, the bottom stat line does not look good. He had a bad interception. He was 20 of 40 as a thrower. This team had a ton of penalties, a ton of just stupid, motion penalties, false starts, just a ton of dumb stuff. This team also had another 5 drops. It could have been a much better day for the Jags had they just eliminated a lot of the mental mistakes. So I get a lot of blowback on Trevor Lawrence. I think he played better than his box score. He's still an above average quarterback to me. Better days ahead for Trevor Lawrence here. Houston's a tough defense. The big hit here today was Trevor Lawrence throwing to Brenton Strange, though, who's the clear tight end 1 option now. 6 receptions, 12 fantasy points, 7 targets. A nice, stable, big presence for Lawrence all across the field here. So Jags, they get the home win, and they finally scraped to find one. So that was good to see. Cincinnati Bengals, I didn't really learn anything here. I don't even want to talk about it. It was pretty bad. Jamar Chase, you're going to keep starting him. T. Higgins, though, we got to sound the alarm on. Chase Brown, we got to sound the alarm on. This was a terrible day. I guess Brown still gets there with the receptions in PPR leagues, but I really don't want anything to do with this team unless it's Jamar Chase going forward. We can talk more about it if you guys have questions in the comments. But for now, I'm just going to skip the Bengals. It was a complete shit show. 2 defensive touchdowns by the Vikings. The Vikings, they look stable with Carson Wentz. Bengals defense is bad. This is what we thought could have happened here. But it was all about Jordan Mason, man. The clear RB1 finally, 16 rushing attempts, no targets. Would have liked to see that. But 2 rushing touchdowns. He's going to continue to be the bell cow here. This game was so out of it, in the third and fourth quarter that they let Cam Akers and Xavier Scott get some touches. I don't think we're going to see these guys get many touches while the games are in competition. Good game from Justin Jefferson. 5 receptions on 7 targets, 12.5 fantasy points in a blowout. I guess you take that as the floor. And then finally, TJ Hawkinson turns around here with Wentz. 5 receptions, 6 targets, 15.9 points. Not a whole lot to learn here. Just the fact that Carson Wentz was able to knock the rust off and look good, and they get a blowout home win. We do feel better about our Vikings going forward. So start Jordan Mason, start JJ, and then we'll consider TJ Hawkinson now that he's finally gotten his season started. Steelers didn't learn much here. Jaylen Warren continues, though, to ascend. 18 carries, only 4 for Kenneth Gainwell. Caleb Johnson, no snaps in this one. It looks like Warren RB1 season is finally upon us. So if you guys have been watching my stuff, you know how happy we are about Jay Warren finally getting it. And then this team just kind of continues to do the same thing. DK Metcalf and Calvin Austin are the top 2 receivers. Both see 4 to 5 targets per game. Metcalf is the starting wide receiver 3. Austin's a flex play now because he's had 2 good games out of 3. The tight ends are going to continue to be a stupid rotation. They both see about 3-4 targets per game. Don't know if I want to start either one as a tight end. And then Rodgers is a low-end super flex QB2. The Patriots didn't really learn much about them. Drake May is very good, though. He's a top 10 quarterback, I think, rest of season right now. Ramondre Stevenson with some fumbles in this one led to TreVeyon Henderson being the leader in snaps, routes, rushing attempts, 3 catches on 3 targets. I think this might have opened the door for Henderson to finally start being this same box score going forward. So I guess if you have Henderson, nice win. If you have Stevenson, as good as it looked week 2, doesn't look so good right now. Maybe he can play better in week 4. But that was the main takeaway here. Booty, Mac Hollins, Diggs, clear top 3. We get a little bit more Douglas in this one, but they all kind of spread the targets out thin. Hunter Henry gets 10 targets for 8 receptions on the day with 2 touchdowns. He was the big winner today. So Henry can be, started as a tight end 1 if you really need tight end. But honestly, I don't feel good about starting any of the Patriots receivers. It's funny. I love starting Drake May. They just spread the ball out too much. So we didn't really learn too much about the Patriots, just that Drake May is a starter in quarterback 1 leagues, Hunter Henry, tight end streamer, and it looks like TreVeyon Henderson's door finally starting to open up a little bit. LA Rams, man, they should have won this game. They looked like the better team for 98% of this game. Matthew Stafford, low-end superflex QB2 numbers. Kieran Williams back to 19 carries, gets a receiving touchdown, 19.1 fantasy points. You're going to keep starting him as a high-end running back too. Blake Corum continues to play well with a increased workload as far as we've seen with the Rams RB2, 8 rushing attempts on the day. He's a priority stash. If he's available in your waiver wires, I want Corum on my teams. It's Puka and Devontae. That's really it. We don't even really need to talk about Whittington or Tutu or the tight ends. This is the most predictable offense in the league. It's Stafford throwing to Puka and Devontae and dinking it off to some of the running backs here, while the running backs are pretty easy to understand as well. So good game from the Rams. They just couldn't get the game sealed there at the end. Another team that we just know what they're going to do and who's touching the ball, the Eagles, finally get it opened in the passing game, which was good to see. Big game from Jalen Hurts with the passing touchdowns. Saquon Barkley, 18 carries, 3 receptions, only 8.7 points. Teams are bottling him up, struggling to get the run game going, but he remains a high-volume play as an RB1. Finally, Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown both hit on the same day. We got Jahan Dotson running as the clear number 3, just not enough volume there. And then Dallas Goedert runs all the snaps and the routes, only 2 targets, but he gets a touchdown there with one of those. He's a fringe tight end 1, but we're starting Devonta and A.J. Brown again. We're starting Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts. Pretty easy for this team. New York Jets, man, that was a fun ending with the blocked kick and then the game-winning kick from Tampa Bay. What did we learn here? I think I was wrong about Garrett Wilson, man. He is really good. I knew he was really good. I guess we're seeing it with Tyrod Taylor, which maybe that might be the better fantasy option for him because he's just a baller, man. He's really the only offensive piece that can catch the ball that I care about. Arian Smith, Tyler Johnson, Alan Lazard, Mason Taylor. It's kind of like who cares, I guess, for Dynasty Mason Taylor. It's good to see him being a contributor, but he's not quite there for redraft yet. And then there's still Breece Hall's backfield, 38 of 68 snaps, 21 routes, 9 rushing attempts, 4 receptions. Floor game here is what you wanted to see. We'll see about Justin Fields back for week 4. But I think it's good to know that even if Justin Fields gets hurt again, Tyrod Taylor is serviceable and keeps the offense afloat and had them in position to win the game. Tampa Bay didn't really learn much here. We have an injury to Mike Evans, though, that we have to be worried about with the hamstring. Cade Otton is not a redraft tight end. He's running all the routes, just getting no targets. He's not a very good receiving tight end. But the Mike Evans injury is a big deal. He's got a mild hamstring strain. I think that's going to open it up for Ibuka. Chris Godwin back next week. He might be, I'm not going to start him next week, but he might be starting in our lineups by week 5. And then I think the sleeper here is going to be Sterling Shepard off the waiver wire with the Mike Evans news. I'm expecting Mike to miss 1 or 2 games with this hamstring strain. Tampa Bay's 3-0. It's a long season. Let the big guy rest up and keep that hamstring fresh. Bucky Irving dominated this one. 25 carries. Rachaad White gets 5. Just another Tampa Bay game where I love these offenses that are just so consolidated to like only 4 or 5 guys. Like we know who's getting the ball. It's really friendly and easy to predict for fantasy. And we can keep doing the same thing with Tampa Bay every week. With the Colts, we're starting Jonathan Taylor every week. We finally got that massive game out of JT, so that was fun to see. Daniel Jones continues to play well. He's for sure a super flex QB too. I don't know if I still trust him as a top 10 QB in a redraft league, but right now he's been playing as a top 5, top 10 QB. So keep him in there. We did get an Alec Pierce concussion. He was ruled concussion today on Monday here, but Michael Pittman, man, looks like a fringe wide receiver 2-3. I think he's a top 25 receiver in fantasy right now. But they spread the ball out. You're going to keep starting Tyler Warren. You're going to keep starting Michael Pittman. But Pierce and Downs, I don't really have a lot of trust in these guys yet. Maybe with Pierce out, that's going to push up Downs and Mitchell's numbers. So we can look at those guys this week here. But the Colts, they're going to run the ball with JT. Daniel Jones, he's going to continue to dish the ball to these receivers. And Pittman and Tyler Warren are really the only guys I want in my lineups every week. Finally, a little bit of offense here from the Titans. They did get blown out a little bit in this one, but you see Tony Pollard get a rushing touchdown. We see Cam Ward get almost 12 fantasy points. Alec Ayomaner catches another touchdown, and then contributions from Tyler Lockett, Shamir Dyke. Chico Okonkwo looks like a potential tight end 1. He's been running pretty well of late. 12 points in this one, 6 targets, 5 catches to lead the team. Didn't run all the routes, and I'm not sure if that's just because the game kind of got out of hand at the end. But either way, what are we starting on this offense for fantasy? I think it's Tony Pollard. Calvin Ridley still running all the routes out there, but just not producing yet. I don't really want to start anybody besides Tony Pollard. I think Okonkwo maybe as a tight end 1 streamer if you need it. But Ayomaner should be picked up on waivers. Ridley hold. It's going to be a long season for the Titans, guys. We don't really want to be messing with the Titans for fantasy. Raiders, Jesus. Geno Smith, 26 fantasy points. Trey Tucker gets 41 fantasy points. We can't spread that around to Brock Bowers or Jacoby Myers, who both have floor games. This is another one of those easy to predict consolidated offenses where Geno is going to throw to Jacoby, Trey Tucker, Deontay Thornton, and Brock Bowers. I don't know if I still trust Trey Tucker because the floors are pretty bad, but we've got 2 nice games out of 3 so far. He's a top 5 fantasy receiver. Should be picked up. He's a big play guy, catches 3 touchdowns in this one. Keep starting Jacoby, keep starting Brock Bowers. And then Genty, man, not looking so good. He looks good. The Raiders' offensive line does not look good. And their game scripts have just not looked good. But he's getting all the volume, which is nice to see. Still not finding a way to get him the ball as a receiver, though. So I'm a little frustrated in that department. They're running a lot of Zamir White and Dylan Lobby out there now. So what do we have with Genty? I think he's a running back too for the rest of the season, at least for the foreseeable future. Raiders struggling to put it all together here. Commanders put it all together. We had everybody look good for the running backs here. Marcus Mariota was dealing. I think he got a rushing touchdown in there. He gets 20 fantasy points, showing that he can still play. But this running backfield is what we need to talk about. Chris Rodriguez starts the game. Gets 11 carries and a rushing touchdown. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt kind of comes in and fills in between here and there and has his spurts as the lead back. He gets 8 rushing attempts. He gets a touchdown as well. And then Jeremy McNichols actually, did I get that wrong? I might have got that wrong. I have to look at these fantasy points because I know McNichols got a rushing touchdown. So I think I might have botched those. But big day for all of these guys here. I don't think Chris Rodriguez got the touchdown. I'll have to double check that. But either way, this is a nasty backfield split. You're basically playing whack-a-mole at the running back 2 spot. So I don't really have a good lean on this here. They're going to continue to run JCM and Chris Rodriguez as the primary ball carriers, not really utilizing them in the passing game. We're going to see Jaden Daniels back next week. So I think we need another data point on this running backfield here. I just don't really trust any of them. McLaurin, clear wide receiver 1 still. He finally gets 10 fantasy points again. And Deebo Samuel, they just didn't really have to flex much muscle. So a bad game from Deebo. Luke McCaffrey is someone to keep an eye on in deeper leagues. And then Zach Ertz still the clear tight end 1 for routes. We didn't really learn about the Commanders much because they were just ahead most of this game with Mariota. And we honestly learned that the backfield is just super messy. So if I had to start one guy, though, it's still probably Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt, but pick up Chris Rodriguez, pick up Jeremy McNichols. We'll continue to learn about this backfield along the way. Broncos, I think we're in the late slate now. Big game from Courtland Sutton. And to me, Troy Franklin's still a winner here. He runs 31 of 33 routes, 4 targets, only 2 receptions on the day. But this is the usage that you want to see from a fantasy wide receiver. He's out there all the time, running the routes. Bo Nix did not look all that well in this game. He did when he was throwing the Courtland Sutton, he looked great, but nothing else, man. They didn't really throw the ball enough in this one, I thought. They ran the ball well with Dobbins. They had some big plays and some field flipping situations. You're starting Dobbins every week as a running back too. Harvey, just a bench stash for now. You're starting Sutton. Mims is a hold if you want him on the end of your bench, but he's probably just a waiver wire player. I think Franklin's the hold for now. And then tight end is just a wasteland here, even when Evan Ingram returns. So I didn't really learn a lot about the Broncos. It was good to see Franklin run, again, a lot of routes. Bo Nix is just a super flex quarterback too. Don't really have a lot of faith in him. But they get the Broncos get the Bengals this week. So maybe it's a splash game, and we see a lot of these guys in our starting lineups this week. So tough loss for the Broncos there in LA. And the Chargers, man, we lose Najee Harris with an Achilles for the year. It was the Omarion Hampton show. He gets 19 carries, 6 receptions on 6 targets, and a touchdown. We got it. It took 3 weeks for us to get there, and Najee injury, but we're finally there. Hampton might be a top 12 tight end or running back the rest of the way. He's a must-start player going forward. Hassan Haskins will be the RB2 there. Ladd McConkey continues to run all the routes. Quentin Johnston looked pretty good today too, man. I think these are all 3 Chargers receivers are must start. McConkey, this is a tough matchup for QJ, and he was getting open against Surtain. So I think the QJ breakout is finally here. He's 3 for 3 and having good fantasy games. Ladd McConkey's just playing floor games, and he's going to have a big slop game eventually, maybe this week at New York Giants, week 4 here. And then Keenan Allen, man, just looks really, really good still. So I'm thinking I'm starting all 3 Chargers receivers. And then we have to note, rookie tight end was up today because Will Dissly was out. He ran 14 routes, but he caught 5 of his 6 targets. He looked like a guy that needs to play more. So I'd like to see more of Rondé Gadsden, but at whose expense? Hopefully at Tyler Conklin's expense, but we shall see. Chargers look good. Herbert looks good. Hampton finally unlocked, guys. I'm not even going to talk about the Saints. Good game from Chris Olave. Rashid Shaheed still startable as a wide receiver 3 flex. Juwan Johnson still a starting top 5 tight end. Kamara, floor game, 18 carries, 1 target, or two targets, 1 reception. Kendre Miller is the stash handcuff here. We might be seeing Tyler Shuck soon for the Saints here. So good news for Olave, though. Seahawks. Didn't really learn much about these guys. They played a ton of dudes because they were just blowing them out by halftime. I think it was 38-6 or something like that. Kenneth Walker gets 2 touchdowns. Jackson Smith-Njigba. So this is a fun one because we see the Seahawks have had a little bit of everything. They had a struggle game week 1. They had a nice game week 2, and where they beat the Steelers on the road, and now they get a blowout win at home. Jackson Smith-Njigba, 3 for 3. Doesn't matter the game script, man. He's going to score points. Love to see that. JSN's a top 5 receiver for me rest of season. Kenneth Walker, again, without Zach Charbonnet. Maybe on Thursday Night Football, we might be without Charbonnet again. So Walker, we're back into the RB2 status. Tight ends are going to rotate. Don't really care about the tight ends. Cooper Kupp, the game where they didn't have to do much. Kupp's going to be that second fiddle. He's a fringe wide receiver 3 flex. Darnold is a super flex QB2. Didn't really learn a lot about the Seahawks, just that JSN's really good. Kenneth Walker, good to see him scoring touchdowns again. The Cowboys, CeeDee Lamb, high ankle sprain, out for 3 to 4 games. George Pickens stepped up, 9 targets, 5 catches, 18 fantasy points. Jalen Tolbert did step into the CeeDee Lamb role for snaps and routes. He earned 6 targets, only 3 catches. He's maybe a pickup for the next month or so. But I like Kevontae Turpin maybe more than Tolbert because they find ways to get Turpin the ball when he's on the field. So 1 target or 1 carry, 3 targets, 2 catches, 8.8 fantasy points on the day. So we'll talk about those guys on the waiver wire show. Jake Ferguson, tight end 1. He's getting everything. And especially without CeeDee Lamb going forward, you're starting Ferguson, you're starting Pickens, you're starting Javonte. Sanders could be picked up in deeper leagues on the end of your bench. And then I think you want to keep playing Dak Prescott, but maybe not this week against the Packers without CeeDee Lamb. So frustrating day for Cowboy fans. Good day for Chicago Bears fans. Caleb Williams looked good, 29 fantasy points. He gets a touchdown to DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Luther Burden, and Cole Kmet. 4 touchdowns for Caleb Williams. And we have a Colston Loveland injury here, so that might make Cole Kmet startable for fantasy. If we remove Loveland, who had 3 targets on 5 routes, it looked like he was going to have a mini breakout day at the beginning there. But Kmet might be just the last man standing here. And if Loveland misses time, Cole Kmet is going to be on the waiver wire program. Now, DJ Moore, Odunze, these guys are starting fantasy receivers going forward. Luther Burden should be picked up in deeper leagues. DeAndre Swift still getting a lot of catches and carries and things like that. And then Monangai needs to be stashed as well in deeper leagues. So healthy Bears offense here was good to see. They're going to get the Raiders this week, so they might be building some momentum here. Glad to see them get finally a win there in Chicago. Arizona Cardinals, we lose James Conner for the season. We're going to pour one out here for Mr. James Conner. It's been a good ride. Might not be fantasy relevant again if he does come back from this one. But Trey Benson, league-winning running back stash. So here you go. He's going to be the bell cow. Amari DiMercato is going to mix in with the routes and some of the snaps and some of the stuff, but I'm curious to see who the third running back is called up for next week. Either way, Trey Benson's a top 15, top 20 running back heading into week 4 here against Seattle. Kyler Murray, low-end QB1, high-end QB2 for Superflex leagues. He just can't throw the ball to Marvin Harrison, guys. I think it's a bad pairing. I just don't think these two can jive together. We need a bigger armed quarterback for Marvin Harrison to succeed fully. He's going to continue to hit Trey McBride. McBride's your tight end 1, but I'm getting frustrated with Marvin Harrison. He's going to be kind of a boom bust wide receiver 3 flex, and I don't really care about anybody else on this team. McBride, Marvin, Benson, Murray, and you can maybe pick up DiMercato. We'll talk about him on the waiver wire show. 49ers, Christian McCaffrey, 14 targets, 10 receptions. Congrats. You guys got vintage McCaffrey for this 2025 season. Ricky Pearsall had a big game as he was the last man standing at receiver, 11 targets, 8 catches. Jake Tonjes is worth picking up if you need tight end help. He ran 29 of the 43 routes, 3 targets. We get Brock Purdy back this week. I think this could be nice bounce back spot for the 49ers offense to kind of get balanced again. We're going to probably see Juwan Jennings. Maybe we'll see. I don't know. We'll see how it goes against Jacksonville, who does have a good defense, but didn't really learn a lot from this San Francisco 49ers team. McCaffrey looks good. Ricky Pearsall looks good. If Juwan Jennings is out, though, Kendrick Bourne is the clear number 2 receiver and target, I guess the third target behind McCaffrey and Pearsall. So good game from the 49ers. Mac Jones, hell of a job picking up 2 wins. Chiefs, what did we learn? Tyquan Thornton's actually pretty good. 9 targets, 5 receptions. I think Xavier Worthy's back week 4, but Tyquan Thornton should be picked up. He looks like he could be the number 2 receiver here. Hollywood Brown gets pushed down a little bit. 6 targets, 4 catches. Juju Smith-Schuster, 5 targets, 4 catches. I don't feel good starting those guys. And we'll see week 4 if Xavier Worthy's out there. If Worthy is out there, I'm probably going to play Worthy. And then Tyquan Thornton, again, should be picked up on your waivers. Travis Kelce still not looking good. 4 catches on 6 targets for 6.6 points. Beefing with some of the stuff on the sideline there with Andy Reid. Travis Kelce, man, it's not a tight end 1 season right now for Travis Kelce. And then the running back split between Pacheco and Hunt is frustrating. They both get 10 carries. Hunt gets the rushing touchdown. Still no faith in this running back room. Mahomes, I got to get Mahomes' fantasy points in here. But overall, frustrating day from the Chiefs because they just spread the ball out and nobody can really eat. But it was nice to see Tyquan Thornton make some big plays and finally get a win here for the Chiefs. And then the Giants, we're getting Russell Wilson benched for Jackson Dart talk this week. We might see Jackson Dart start this week. Tyrone Tracy gets hurt in the first quarter, and we see the Cam Scatabo reveal. Pretty nice. A lot of dink and dunks here to him in the receiving game, but he's a bruising back. We like his skill set. He is a running back too going forward here, and Tyrone Tracy has a dislocated shoulder. So it is fully Scatabo season. Tough game in the passing department. Russell Wilson couldn't get anything going. Malik Neighbors, 3.3 fantasy points. Wan'Dale Robinson with 1 catch. Darius Slayton led the way with 4 catches. It's just, we need to see Jackson Dart. That's what I learned from the New York Giants. Start Scatabo, start Malik the Freak, but it might be time to get the rookie quarterback in there. But there you have it. Thanks for hanging out with me on this Monday evening. Enjoy the Ravens and the Detroit Lions. If you guys want to check out thefantasyfellowship.com, that's where I have those charts posted, as well as all my other stuff, like the waiver wire column's already up. The start-sit charts for week 4 are already up. I'm going to be working on weekly rankings on Wednesday, and rest of season rankings probably out Thursday. So check out thefantasyfellowship.com. Enjoy the game, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. I guess Tuesday night, waiver wire show, 7 p.m. Central Time. We'll see you Tuesday night. Peace, guys.